and welcome to this week's YouTube vlog from Barton Burner Services, and I hope we're all okay. As always, thanks for the comments we had last week. Some were great, they make me chuckle to be honest, and it's brilliant stuff. And it sounds like we're helping a few people as well, so we're a bit touched about some of the comments we've had from that point of view. Thanks for people who have subscribed. We're over 850 now, we're so close to 1,000. Please subscribe if you haven't, it'd be great. So what's been happening in our world this week? We've been doing a boiler at a church this week. Couldn't record it before I say too much about it because we weren't allowed our phones in the church, I'm afraid. But yeah, so I've spent like 3-4 days doing a boiler upgrade. They've actually now got hot water in the church as well, which is quite nice, so they're really pleased. Had a couple of issues with radiators leaking, but we've dealt with that as well. So that's what's taken up most of my week. So yeah, as for this week's vlog, well, I'm going to do a bit of a morning with Rob job, because literally it's Friday, the vlog goes out at 6 o'clock tonight, and literally I haven't done anything yet because I've been in one place all week. But there we go, it is what it is, we'll see how we get on. And yeah, the first job I'm going to this morning is I've got a leak. The lady rang me last night, was it, maybe yesterday afternoon, and she's got a 28mm gate valve by the looks of the picture, pouring water out. She's got a bucket under it. So I've got my freeze kit with me because I thought it might be a bit quicker, and I'm going to go there now and get it frozen, get it changed, and hopefully she'll be happy. What I am however hoping is that she's turned the boiler off, because a 28mm hot pipe on a freeze kit, it's like 1 and 1 make 9. It don't work. Okay, so I'm hoping it's going to be cool. If it's not, then I'm going to be draining it. So that's where I'm going now. So as always, let's crack on with this week's vlog. I'm about to change one of these valves here, and this is an emergency. I've decided to bring my freeze kit with me. So it's a Rothenberger freeze kit, and what you do is first you clean a bit of pipe, and then you put the paste on that's here, then the clamp on, and you turn it on. As you can see, after 15 minutes, -20, very, very cold. So I should be able to undo that, and it should stop. And it must have stopped because it was pouring out of here. It's just a tight drip now, so that must be frozen. Voila. I get very nervous because clearly the whole house needs massive. It's just frozen here, and I know people think, oh, it's easy, but it does make me nervous. So before it decides to do anything weird, I'm going to stick the new one in. New valve in. Still -20. That's fine. So we're just going to go now and turn it off. Okay, you can't just grab these clamps. If you grab them, they'll stick to your fingers and you make a mess of yourself. So I'm just going to have to wait 15 minutes for that all to warm up, and then I can go from there. We're 10 minutes on. Little drip just starting here, so this is thawing out here, it's slowly thawing out here. What are we on now? About freezing. Yeah, so it's starting to warm up slowly. That one's still pretty solid. Yeah, that's on 0 as well, so we'll wait until all the ice is actually off these, and then I'll remove them, because according to the instructions you have to keep the pipes up right until it thaws out. So yeah, I'll be waiting a bit longer. Boiler on, aqua flame, nice and warm up there, nice and hot through the valve, nice and hot, no leaks. Job's good, and on to my next. So that's a happy customer there. So I couldn't show the actual tap leaking when I got there. Unfortunately, the customer was in a bit of a flap. I just had to get on with it really and get it frozen and stop the leak before I could start recording that one. But that's all done. Quite a straightforward job. I was there probably an hour in total, which is quite good. As I say, freeze kits are great. Clearly you can just yeah, not have to drain the system down. You can't always use them. I wouldn't swear by it and say this is what I have to use all the time, but yeah, for me that in this occasion was yeah, pretty handy to have. So I'm now off to a Grant Combi. I've got about a half-hour journey, and basically they've got very random hot water. It sort of gets off for 5, 10, sometimes 30 seconds, and then basically goes cold. Okay, so I'm guessing it's going to be heat exchanger. The other thing they mentioned as well is that the flow is slightly reduced as well, and also there's a leak. So yeah, all Grant Combi seem to leak, but yeah, I'll have a good look at that and see where I'm at. So I'm just gonna travel now, and I'll be back with you shortly. Okay, one boiler. So I've been in the customer's house, and basically you turn the hot tap on. It's hot for about 5 to 10 seconds, and it goes cold, the hot tap, and also the flow's not very good either, so it's quite common on these. So I do my obvious things. When the tap's on, I look here, the power light was obviously on, the flow was on, demand and the burner, it was all running, and the domestic hot water pump was on as well. So I was happy that the boiler is doing what it's supposed to do from the point of view of the electronic side, and the pump's also working. The in pipe here and the out pipe here at the bottom here, which is to do with the boiler internal water to this exchanger, red hot. The exchanger, red hot, you can hardly touch it. However, when the cold main comes into the bottom of the exchanger here, it should heat up in here, come out hot into your mixer there. This pipe into the mixer that should be red hot is tepid. When it's running, it gets hot and then goes tepid within about 5 seconds. Okay, so clearly the exchanger's blocking up, coupled with the fact that the flow rate's down on the kitchen sink, i.e. it's not very fast at all, and it's got quite good mains pressure here on the cold, that would suggest that this is blocked. Normally, I don't change them, but the mixer valve I'm going to have to change on this occasion, because actually there's a drip on the bottom, so I'm going to change that as well. And the way the mixer valve works is, it relies on the really hot water coming down here into this side, cold water into this side, it mixes it, hence its name mixer, and then that pipe there, in there, is what ends up going to your taps. Okay, and that's how it works. So I'm going to drain it first. I'm not going to undo the PRV, which is clearly here, because the worst thing you can do is lift that, because it would carry on leaking. I'm not going to undo the drain cocks that are here or here, because again they will leak. So the way I do it is, I make sure that this tap here is turned off for the filling loop, and the main one here is turned off. I'm going to undo the filling loop here, like so. I'm going to get a hose on it. I'm going to undo that one, and it's just going to drain it. And then we know we're not going to mess anything else up. Hose pipe's on. Filling loop valve is now undone. As you can see, it's going down. And the water is slowly coming out. We're getting there. Okay, so the next thing I'm going to do is wait till it's drained. Okay, there's no pressure in the system. I'm going to turn the main cold off, which is here. But I've just realised there's one up there, so I'll isolate it there because it's better, because they're not the best of valves. And then I'm going to put a cover around here where all the circulation pump is, because any water on that pump, bang, it goes. So I'm just going to get that out of the way, i.e. put towels and that around it, have my wet vac in case ready, and then I'm going to undo number 1, number 2, number 3, number 4, out it comes. So I've taken the mixer valve out. Little tip, it might be worth getting one of these. These are like a flexible funnel. I'm trying to think who makes them. Neuard, I think, make them. But as you can see, it stops all the water going into the circulating pump. You can just tuck them anywhere. So it's a bit of a better isolation into a container if there's an issue, as well as obviously having a wet vac with you. So just a heads up on mixer valves, people may not be aware of this, but on the cold side in, as you can see here, hopefully, there's a strainer. You can clean them. Sometimes they get scaled up. If you get a slightly reduced flow or something like that, that's sometimes the reason why, because it's obviously scaled up in there, and you can clean them strainers. That one's clean in this case, so we know it's this exchanger here, so I'm just going to crack on and get all this undone now. The heat exchanger out. As you can see, we're all clear here now, which is absolutely fine. Turn my torch off because it's giving a funny light. There we go, heat exchanger out. So, just to make people aware, there's a blue isolation valve here. Before you take it out, make sure you turn that off, because that will stop a lot of water coming. That's from the system, obviously, the heating system, etc. And obviously, because I've got pipes going up here, I'll be totally honest, I'd forgotten for a start and can understand why I was getting so much water still. So make sure you do turn that off, because then it will stop the supply to this one here. I don't know if anyone's changed any of these before. Obviously, the first things first is I'm blowing through here. There's your inlet and your outlet, cold in, hot out. You're blowing that, you can hardly blow through it. So it's obviously scaled up. Whereas this one, I can blow straight through it. So I know that's the problem. But going back to what I was saying, if you look here, you will see it's got like little washers on here, which have got to be cut off. They're like little orange washers, like fibre washers. If I can just get a blade under there. and very gently cut it off because it's got to be clean. You can see it's in bits, look, like a fibre washer. That's how they come originally, and they leak and they're rubbish. So if you ever get one of these leak and you're not changing the exchanger, then you can get one of this, look, a seal kit, which is basically top hats, like so, okay? They're made of metal and they just push into here, and then you do them up and they seal, and we don't get any trouble with them leaking at all. Tip from me, if you ever come across one leaking, just drain it, get them undone, and obviously put the correct ones in, because if you don't, leaks always land on the hot water pump, and bang, always happens on these. So yeah, get on and get yourselves a load of them. They come in the kit with the heat exchanger, so that's what I'm going to be putting back together now, is the heat exchanger, and then yeah, we'll go from there. So exchanger back in. The next thing I do is I turn the mains on up there again, which I've done, turn the blue isolator back on, but before I put any pressure in the system, I've just been to inside and turned the hot tap on and got rid of the air. The first thing I noticed is the pressure is massively increased. Okay, so it's got good pressure now, so that's a really good sign. There's no leaks so far, so what I'm now going to do is pressurize it very slowly just to check there's no leaks. Okay, while that's doing that, the customer's asked me a question: why is it scaled up when there's a water softener in the system going through the exchanger for the hot water side? And I'm like, let me have a look. So you're correct, there's a salt machine. However, follow the pipes up and it's turned off and it's on bypass, so someone's done that. So there's your answer, that's exactly why it's scaled up. So yeah, I'm just going to get some pressure in it, warm it up, and I'll see where we're at. Okay, so it's all up and running. The water is red hot, absolutely red hot. This pipe's red hot now, but the water in the house is absolutely red hot. I've had the heating on, that all works as well. Obviously I'm back onto hot water because I've been trying it. So yeah, pop it together, and this one all wrapped up, and I'm a very happy customer. Okay, that's that one done. Let's go back a step there. When you've got them combis up and running, don't just think, right, okay, the hot water works now, because that's what the problem was, and I'm just going to shoot off because I'm done, I need to get on. You've got to remember that it's got to fully satisfy first, 20 to 25 minutes, and then check that the central heating works. In the case of the house I've just been at, the hot water was fine. When the central heating flicked over, the pump airlock, so it stopped. Okay, so I had to get rid of the air. So it took me a little bit longer than normal, you know, win some, lose some, so to speak, to get the heating side working. So yeah, just again, a little tip there. Just don't think, yeah, water works now, bye, yep, see you later, because you'll be back. Okay, so just make sure the whole thing works, both sides of it. So that's that one done. She's a very happy customer, which is what we like. So I'm off now, only 10 minutes down the road, to another Combi, but this time it's a Worcester Green Star. We serviced it a few months ago and they said that the water was too hot, but when we were there we said it was fine, it didn't seem too hot to us at all. And then the company we're doing it for, they sent one of their plumbers the other day because the lady said the shower didn't work. The plumber got there, said there's not even a shower, which made us all laugh. There's something wrong with the boiler to do with the hot water. So we're not really sure where this one's going, but that's where I'm going now, off to that. It's a Worcester Green Star, which is my favourite, not. Hollis Heating's favourite, not. So that's where we're going to go next. So on with that one, and yeah, I better get on really. It's now getting on for 11 o'clock, so yeah, I need to crack on a bit really. Okay, so I'm here, one Worcester Green Star. Just had an absolute mouthful from the customer, which is fantastic, saying that we were supposed to have come 3 times and blah, 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 blah. However, literally we found out about it a few hours ago. So there you go. So someone, she seems to think it's from our company, but it's not, has reported it wants a 3-port valve. What's 3-port valve? There isn't one on these. Okay, and then her second report is that the hot water was too hot, but when we serviced it, it was afterwards the right temperature. Right, okay, so we have obviously turned it down on this. Okay, I've put it even lower now, but it was about there. Okay, so clearly we fixed that. But she's now saying when she turns her hot water off on her controller inside, which is the Worcester one, the hot water's still hot. It will be. When you turn the controllers off inside, it will stop the burner from working, but you've still got the residual heat. But can I explain that to her? No, it's just one of them. So I think for me, I'm going to put it back together, and then I'll go back to the owner of the property and have a chat with them, because I'll be honest, waste of time. Jeez, that was thrilling. I thought she was going to throw me off the property. Someone has really wound her up, and I don't know who, but not us, because literally we've just turned up there very innocently and I've copped it. But there we go. She's absolutely convinced that now, since we've had another conversation, her plumber friend who's come round says it's the 3-port valve. It's really common on this model of boiler. And I said to her, we'll get your friend back to come and find me the 3-port valve inside it there, which there clearly isn't one. There's nothing wrong with that boiler. You turn the heating on, it works. You turn the hot water on, it works. You put them both on, it works. When you turn the heating off and you have the hot water on, the burner, the system gets hot, does what it's supposed to, i.e. there's hot water at the tap. When you turn the hot water off, the burner doesn't run. So that's it. The burner doesn't run, she's not using any more oil, and you have the residual heat and a bit of water going on, and eventually, if you leave the tap on long enough, it cools down. But in this lady's head, she seems to think that as soon as you turn it off, the water goes cold. And because it doesn't, she's wasting oil. And I'm really, really good at talking to customers. But even me, with this lady, she wouldn't have it. So, yeah, I'll be, as I say, I'll be going back to the landlord on that, because I won't be spoke to like that, to be honest. I was going to leave if I hadn't have got any further with her. And, yeah, we all get them, don't we? So we'll move on from her. On to the next one. I am going to, where am I going? Okay, so I know where I'm going now. I'm going to a village called Bagram, and I am doing a thermocomp. Okay, just report of intermittent lockout, been playing that for a few weeks, so I'm going to go and have a look at that now and see what I find. So yeah, I'll see you there. One thermocon. It was a lockout when I got here. It's been running 30 minutes now on and off, and it's absolutely fine. But one thing I've noticed is that the spark has been held on for nearly a minute and a half. So I'm sort of guessing that it's going to be the transformer that's failing, because the spark's been held on too long. So I'm going to put a control box and a transformer on temporarily and just see if that's going to fix it, because sometimes it's the only thing we can do. Bit safe isolation. Done. 13mm there, just loosen that, twist the burner, and it will come out. The nozzle is dirty on this, but going by experience of how it's running, I'm not saying it's that nozzle that's causing the problem. I'm going to change it anyway, but that is not the problem. Okay, that's just a bit darkened. I'm still going to go for the transformer, which I'll explain a bit later. So if you turn the burner over, one screw, undo that. Voila, one truck. Ow, that's hot. That's proving that there's something wrong with that. Actually, it's red hot. Okay. Something to drop back to as well. Blast tubes. That's got a number 2 on it. Some out there have got number 1 written on them. If they've got number 1 written on them, look here. Where the inside and the outside meet each other and it's welded, on the ones that got number 1 on, some were not welded in square, and it caused them to soot up. There's very few around like it now, so just keep an eye out for that. Okay, so if it's not square in the end and it's got number 1 on it, chuck it and get another. So I'm just going to change the transformer and I'll be back. New transformer on. New control box on. I've got to get out of here because customer needs to go out, so I'll explain a bit more about what we're doing. So yeah, let's do this one on test and see if we go. Okay, so that one is done for now. When I say for now, intermittent lockouts quite hard to find, especially if they lock it every 3 to 7 hours. No one wants to be sitting there for 3 to 7 hours, so you have to use a bit of common sense, or sometimes experience does help in cases like this. And that is, you have to go through the basics as always. You know, did the fan purge when you tried it however many times? Did you hear a spark? So did the transformer work? Did the coil lift? Did it fire? Did it keep running? Did the photocell take over and stop the spark, etc, etc? This is what you need to start looking at. Okay, as well as obvious stuff like, is it a clean nozzle, is it a good oil line, stuff like that. So some of the stuff I done, which I didn't record, I knew the filter was okay, the lines are okay, I had a good flow of oil. The nozzle was dirty, yes, granted, you can see it was dirty, and yes, normally I'd say, yeah, you put a nozzle in it, but because it's so intermittent and what it's doing, that's not it. Okay, I'll put a new nozzle in it anyway, it's clean, okay, but that's not the problem. So I looked a bit deeper, and basically I worked out pretty quickly that the ignition was being held on for over 1.5 minutes. So the control box is starting to fail. So instead of it turning off on average LOA box 45 seconds, sometimes a bit less, sometimes slightly more, which is a bit longer than like a Sotronic A30 that I've showed you before, 1.5 minutes is too long. So then I touched the transformer and it's glowing hot. So clearly the transformer is getting damaged. So just now and again it's not working. I think it's as clear cut as that, to be honest. So yeah, I've left the old control box and transformer there, because at the end of the day, if we find it doesn't fix it, or it's proven that I was wrong, we're happy to put them back on again and say, sorry, I got it wrong, and we go again. In this case, I don't think I am, but sometimes we are. And that's how you've got to work. You know, don't just keep bolting new bits on. If you just bolt new bits on all the time, you will never ever gain experience. You'll only gain experience by knowing what the actual component was. So there's no point in putting a control box and transformer on and it breaks down, then putting a pump on, then it breaks down, and then putting a motor on and carry on like that. Because when you finally fix it, you'll be like, yeah, what was it? Who knows what it was? You know, and yeah, you don't get the experience. So that's where we're at with that one. Only the next few days are going to let us know what happens there, or I'll find out probably in the morning, and then we'll go from there. So that is my morning's work done. I've got plenty more to do this afternoon, but clearly it's going to be over to my sister now to edit it, isn't it? So Karen, yeah, it's over to you. She's got approximately 5 hours to edit it, because as I said earlier, unfortunately I've been on a boiler this week, so I could only do some stuff this morning. But yeah, she'll get it done as always, and yeah, trust me, there's a lot of editing when I'm videoing stuff. I send her all kinds of random stuff, but there we go. Anyway, hope you enjoyed this week's YouTube vlog from Barton All Burner Services. Please feel free to comment as always. We love a comment, and I hope you got a bit more of an insight into the world of breakdowns on oil boilers, etc. So until next week, everyone, have a lovely weekend. Stay safe.